The following video is for entertainment purposes only, and maybe some travel information. The paranormal can be neither proven nor disproven, and as such, take everything I say and do with a grain of salt. The purpose of this channel is, and always has been, to inspire people to go ghost hunting and experience it for themselves. Now sit back and enjoy the video, traveler. The Tillie Pierce House Inn, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This 195-year-old home bore witness to the infamous Battle of Gettysburg, and one of its former residents played an integral part in the battle. Now, this beautiful building serves its purpose as a bed and breakfast right in the heart of town on Baltimore Street. It boasts, among other things, a comfortable bed, beautiful foyer, and a delicious homemade breakfast for us weary travelers. But is it haunted? In 35 minutes or less. Greetings, travelers! Once again it is I, the Reverend Victor S. Johnson, and I've been places you've only read about. This, as always, is my co-host and producer, Dudley, and boy do we have a great one for you tonight. But first, please remember to like and subscribe. And traveler, I need to talk to you about a sudden but under-the-radar evil that we all experience at one time or another. That's right, the demon of boredom. Traveler, have you ever been disappointed after a ghost hunt? You sat there for hours, and your REM pod didn't REM, and your swizzle sticks didn't swizzle, and what's more, your pendulum didn't pend. Well, what do you do now? You drove for hours, and you've got nothing going on tomorrow. Well, let's vanquish that demon of boredom together. Let me introduce you to Viator. Viator is an experience booking app that works all over the world. It links up travelers just like you and I with tour guides like myself. And it's got it all. Ghost tours, helicopter tours, escape room experiences, taste testings, and even Segway tours like I used to give all over the country. Well, wouldn't you know it, I've worked with Viator in the past as a guide and now as an affiliate. That's right, I've got my own Viator shop, and I have personally curated experiences all over the country for you and your fellow travelers to peruse. So check it out. I have a special list for Alabama that I put together after Dudley and I stopped in Huntsville and Birmingham. So check out Viator today and vanquish the demon of boredom for good. And remember to take your tour with Viator. You like that, Dudley? I just thought of that. Well, let's see you come up with something better. Anyway, my Viator shop is in the description. Now on with the video. As is usually the case with the town of Gettysburg, there are two histories here. What's historically documented and what isn't, but gets told anyway. Let's start with the history, huh? Matilda Tillie Pierce, daughter of James and Margaret, I guess Margaret Sr., was a Gettysburg original, born in town on March 11th, 1848. She had two older brothers and an older sister. Her older sister was also named Margaret, to avoid confusion. James ran a butcher shop out of what is now a bed and breakfast. The Confederate Army, led by General Robert E. Lee, pushed to the west of the Blue Ridge Mountains after a decisive victory in Chancellorsville. They marched north towards Harrisburg to seek surrender from the state of Pennsylvania. It was in Gettysburg that General Fightin' Joe Hooker stationed battalions from his Army of the Potomac to cut Lee off from his return to the Mason-Dixon line. Hooker's right-hand man, General Oliver Otis Howard, set up camp at what would become the National Homestead of Gettysburg, now known as the Gettysburg Orphanage. It was strongly theorized by historian John A. Carpenter that setting the rally point on the high ground of Cemetery Hill was all Howard's idea. But we'll get back to the battle another time, traveler. Where was Tillie, our heroine, in all of this? Well, Matilda and her sister Margaret were escorted south of town, just as one of Tillie's personal friends, Virginia Jenny Wade, had also been escorted. Once more, traveler, Jenny Wade is another video for another day. Eventually, the refugees made it to the Weichert farm. Once again, traveler, the Weichert family is a third video for another day. As the sisters arrived to the farm from the back of a troop wagon, the shots rang out, and then onto the farm came the wounded. According to Wikipedia, a chaplain told Tillie, "Little girl, do all you can for the poor soldiers, and the Lord shall reward you." And then Matilda, Tillie Pierce, became a triage nurse at the Battle of Gettysburg, learning on the fly. She performed every duty from distributing bread and water to soldiers all the way to assisting in medical procedures. Tillie documented her experiences in a journal later released as a comprehensive account of the battle. The book At Gettysburg, or What a Girl Saw and Heard of the Battle, can be purchased at the Tillie Pierce House Inn. Following the battle, Tillie lived a long life, succumbing to cancer in 1914. She died in Philadelphia in her 60s, and that ends the documented history section, traveler. Now let's talk about ghosts. According to Pennsylvania haunted houses, footsteps can be heard walking around the attic that is now closed off. Sometimes guests of the inn report that people can be felt on the edge of their beds, watching them sleep. According to hauntedplaces.org, the Blue Room, which was weirdly enough the room next to mine, is the most haunted room in the inn. The inn itself reports that there is a poltergeist cat, a mischievous kitty being that can be found all over the inn playing with toys. According to road trippers, there has been the sighting of a sad lady sighing in one of the rooms, and marbles can be heard from the downstairs being played upstairs by children. Finally, from my old tour notes, women can be heard crying in some of the rooms. I checked in to the Tillie Pierce House Inn on a rainy Tuesday afternoon after driving 2 hours into town. Once there, I was given my own parking space and shown the back entrance so that I may get my bags up the stairs to my room. I had chosen one of the small rooms that faces over Baltimore Street. Furthermore, when I checked in, I was given a full tour of the Tillie Pierce House Inn. From there, I put my things in my room and took a walk farther into the center of town. I stopped at Burrow Barbecue for what was absolutely the best brisket sandwich I've ever had. I walked my sandwich off by walking past the Tillie Pierce house to Mr. G's, where I had my favorite, raspberry. I then walked back to the inn, and now, filled with food, needing to digest, and having the itis, I decided to take a small, quick, 6.5-hour power nap. When I woke up at 11:30, the town of Gettysburg fell silent as everything was closed. So then it was time for a seance. The following results, as always, are unedited, other than in the interest of time. And traveler, please take this with a grain of salt. Hello. Is there anyone in here with me right now? Please feel free to speak into the white noise or use any of the electronic devices on the table. I'm Victor. What's your name? Is there anyone in here with me right now? Please feel free to speak into the white noise or use a device on the table. Is there anyone here with me at this moment in time? Please feel free to speak into the white noise or use a device on the table. My name's Victor. Good morning. What's your name? Please feel free to respond to the white noise. Feels like you're trying to come through. Are you? Are you trying to come through? Once again, I'm Victor. What's your name? Please feel free to come through the white noise. Good morning. Whom are you trying to create with? Whom are you trying to communicate with? Excuse me. That almost was cool. Can you repeat, Spirit? Can you tell me your name? Once again, I'm Victor. What's yours? Are you trying to communicate something? I feel like you're in here now. Can you please make another device light up? Maybe say something else into the spirit box. Going to give this another minute, Spirit. Feel free to gather your strength and communicate. We'll give this one more minute, and then we'll try one more thing. Resonate? Does resonate have anything to do with something going on right now? Thirty more seconds. What does resonate mean? Okay, Spirit. Goodbye for this moment. Is there anyone in here with me right now? Can you cross the dowsing rods if there is? Leave them uncrossed if there isn't. Good morning, Spirit. Can you please take the dowsing rods at this time and point to where you are in the room amongst everything. The far corner of the room next to the armoire. Armoire. Good morning, Spirit. Spirit, were you born of male? Can you please cross the dowsing rods if yes? Leave them uncrossed if no. Spirit, were you born of female? Can you please cross the dowsing rods if yes? Good morning, ma'am. Spirit, were you here during the Battle of Gettysburg? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Uncross them if no. Very good. Spirit, are you Tillie Pierce? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Uncross them if no. Okay. I'll take that. Give me one moment. Spirit, are you Elizabeth? Can you cross the dowsing rods if yes? Leave them uncrossed if no. Good morning, ma'am. Spirit, were you overwhelmed by the Battle of Gettysburg? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Uncross them if no. Spirit, did you also see horrors here at this house? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Spirit, did you die in this house? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Spirit, did you die of natural causes in this house? Can you leave the dowsing rods crossed if yes? Thank you for your communication, Spirit. I'm going to break contact at this time. I will say good night and good morning. Please break communication. Head back through the gate. Goodbye and good night. I need you to release my dowsing rods. Please release them to both of my shoulders, the right one and the left one. Thank you very much. And the left one. Thank you very much again. I say goodbye. I say good morning. Please release the last dowsing rod all the way to my shoulder. Thank you. After the seance, I was tired again around 1 in the morning as I laid down to get some more rest. Right in the corner where my swizzle sticks famously pointed, I swore I heard a woman crying. And as you recall, a woman crying and staring at you while you sleep was in my tour notes. Oh hell no, I'm not doing that. I stayed up another 2 hours trying to get through Longlegs, which, while a great movie, wasn't really the best for the atmosphere. Eventually, I did fall asleep at 3 a.m., and when I woke up, I was greeted to a delicious homemade breakfast and the fellow friendly patrons of the inn. I quizzed a few of them about a cat toy that I had found on the floor. I seemed like a lunatic, however, someone had put it there, so no ghost cat. Checkout was made simple. and I drove back home. And all in all, it was a wonderful experience. But I do have one more follow-up, traveler. A Facebook friend of mine named James messaged me the next day. Let me read this to you. I do have permission. The room you stayed in at the Tillie Pierce is one of the least haunted. That was one of the least haunted? What the hell is the most haunted room like? Well, traveler, that's not for me to answer. Maybe someday you can, and let me know what you find. But as always, Dudley and I must be moving on. So once again, I am the Reverend Victor S. Johnson. This as always is Dudley. Safe travels, traveler.